This property in Roselle, New Jersey has been sitting vacant, and the owner actually lived across the country and hasn't been to it in years. Situations like this happen all the time, especially when properties have been around for a very long time. The owner had held this property for many years, but they're now retired and no longer live in New Jersey. And because of that, the property has been sitting vacant and hadn't been actively managed in quite some time. And when properties sit vacant like that, getting them ready to sell might turn into a much bigger project than people might expect. For someone living across the country and trying to list their property in the market, it can mean many things. It means traveling back and forth, managing contractors, dealing with renovations and cleanup. And in this situation, the homeowner didn't want to deal with that anymore. They weren't interested in turning this property into a renovation project just to get it ready to list. They just wanted to move on from it. I heard about this property from someone who knew the owners. They were looking to sell this off to someone who would just take this property as it was without making it a huge, complicated process. And because this property has been sitting vacant and needed all those updates, that was the approach that made the most sense for them. So we were able to structure a straightforward off-market transaction that allowed the seller to move on without needing to make any renovations or manage the process from across the country. And right now, this property is being redeveloped into a residential home, which is answering towards the housing shortage that we're seeing all across New Jersey. And situations like this are actually pretty common, whether it's out-of-state owners, inherited properties, or just homes that have just been sitting vacant for a while. And a lot of people assume that their only option is to renovate their property and list it traditionally, but that's not always the case. If you own a property in New Jersey and you're not sure what your next best step is, sometimes there are simpler options than going through the entire process of getting a property market ready. It's always worth exploring your options.